Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. We're back with another book recommendations video based off of a specific book trope, and today I really wanted to talk about my favorite book villains, or another way to put it would be an I hate everyone but you type of guy. You've probably read about them in other books that you really like, and I feel like there's a big difference between a grumpy sunshine and one of these characters that I'm going to mention in this book video, because a grumpy sunshine type of book is going to have a character who maybe is quiet, stoic, is just like rough around the edges, but he's very misunderstood, whereas an I hate everyone but you type of guy is someone who actually is not a good person, not a good character. He has hurt people. He is what you would say, quote, a villain, but he really hates everyone except for the main character. I love those characters. I feel like authors that write those types of books really know what the reader wants to see. A villain, a bad boy, get the good girl. We see this all the time in movies like Pride and Prejudice, Grease. There are so many rom-coms where this is the case, and I feel like it's just really fun to read them in our books as well. So I have here 6 book recommendations I'm going to talk about. Some of them are like part of a series, so technically it would be more than 6, but I'm just going to list off 6 characters and the books that they're in. Okay, so the first one I want to talk about is my favorite, and that is Jax, the Prince of Hearts, from the Once Upon a Broken Heart series. I talk about this book series probably for every book recommendation video because there's every trope in this book, and this is my favorite book series of all time, so I have no shame when I talk about this book. Specifically Jax, because he's my favorite and I talk about him all the time, forever and ever and ever and ever. So this is a whimsical, magical tale of a girl who's really just looking for love. Her boyfriend basically is going to be marrying her stepsister, and she wants to stop the wedding. She feels like he is under control of, like, he's not in his right mind. So she goes to the Church of the Prince of Hearts and prays to him and asks for help, and he basically manifests like as like a bodily person and is like, okay, I will help you, but you owe me 3 kisses. And it kind of just goes from there. He is a part of the Caraval series as well, so if you have read that series, or if you're interested in this and you want more of Jax, I would also suggest reading the Caraval book series. I actually have them right there. But he is definitely a villain. He hurts people. He doesn't really care. He even hurts our main character in several instances, and it's so frustrating, but you get those little nuggets, those little tiny minuscule moments where he is so much more than a villain, and he really loves Evangeline, and oh my gosh, it's so beautiful. I love him. He is, in my opinion, my favorite out of all of the characters I'm gonna be talking about today, only because of his like wit and his banter, and just the remarks that he says really reminds me of Damon from the Vampire Diaries. If you have seen that series, I picture his like comedic relief and the funny one-liners that he says in that show. It reminds me of Jax in this series. So next up, I want to talk about an actual book series, and that is the Dreamland Billionaire series by Lauren Asher. It's part of 3 books, so we have the fine print, terms and conditions, and the final offer. I just finished reading the final offer and I thought it was pretty good, but a character I specifically want to mention out of all 3 books would be Declan, who is the main character in terms and conditions. These are 3 brothers, or 3 standalone books, all within the same like universe of like this fake Disney world, and Declan is one of the brothers, and he is one of those guys that really just hates everybody. Like, he is grumpy. Like, there's grumpy sunshine, but then there is like, wow, you're kind of like the D word. You know what I mean? This is a marriage of convenience romance as well, so keep that in mind as you're reading this. But he is forced into a marriage in order to receive his inheritance, which is worth like billions of dollars, and to get a lot of stake in his grandfather's company. So it's a pretty big deal, and he has to marry and have a family in order to receive his inheritance. So he gets married in order to do that. He is not happy. He does not want to do it. like I said, it is not like Grumpy Sunshine, it's a little different, but because it's a contemporary romance, he's not like, I'm gonna actually kill you, but also touch my girl and you will die kind of thing. Love it so much. He was a fun character to read. This book series as a whole wasn't really my favorite, only because book one was just not for me, but a lot of people like it. And if you like these types of characters, all three brothers are pretty similar in their own way, so definitely check out this book series if you haven't already, and it is on Kindle Unlimited. Next up, we have Adrian from A King of Battle and Blood by Scarlett St. Clair. She is the person that wrote the Touch of Darkness series, which is like the Hades and Persephone retellings. I did not include those books in this book recommendation video because I feel like I talk about it a lot, and I just wanted to give a shout out to this book in particular. We have another marriage of convenience here, but we also have vampires. So if you're into vampires and you like the I hate everyone but you kind of guy, you will really like this book because Adrian, our main guy, is a vampire and he's thrust into another marriage of convenience in order for two kingdoms to like unite and become allies. We have a guy who really, he's got a lot of baggage too. He's not afraid to hurt people. He has hurt people in the past. He has hurt his wife in this book as well. So it's really intense. It's very fast paced. The romance starts from like page one. It is something. The vampires in this book series is really interesting. This is the first one in a series. I don't think she's come out with book 2 yet. You have a character that is not afraid to hurt anyone that touches his girl, and who really just doesn't like anybody except for Isolde. It's a good time if you're into like vampire romances. Definitely check this book out. My most recent like book villain that I wanted to mention on here is Aaron Warner from the Shatter Me series. Wow, I was so pleasantly surprised reading this book series. I didn't think I'd love it so much. It's definitely like a 5-star read for me. Aaron Warner is no exception. In fact, I think he makes the entire series for me. Although I do really love Juliet's character, Aaron Warner is just so fun to read. He is also the epitome of like, I hate everybody. I don't care. I have hurt people in the past. I will continue to hurt people. I am not a good person, but I love you so, so much. Like you specifically. So it's awesome. It's passionate. It's romantic. There's not a lot of spice because it is a YA book, but you have all of that love that he has for her, and then you see all of the hate he has for everybody else and like in complete indifference for people in general except for her. It's awesome. It's such a great time. And there's a lot of books in this series, so if you're interested in like a really, really long book series that is fast-paced, really easy to get into, I would recommend the Shatter Me series. Now we're gonna get into some really dark romance, and that is gonna be Hooked by Emily McIntyre. She has a lot of different books that are like retellings of Disney movies. So Hooked is going to be a retelling, very loose, like there's nothing really similar other than like the names of Peter Pan. James Hook is our main guy, or yeah, I would say he's the main guy, and he is infatuated with Wendy, and she is like the daughter of his arch nemesis. So that really sucks, but also he's like this thug type of gangster guy, so he has a lot of enemies. He is a villain himself. He's done a lot of bad stuff, and he has like this underground network of thieves and just bad people working for him. But then he also has a side to him that's really passionate and obsessed with Wendy. It's dark, like trigger warnings I think are available for this book. I would look them up if you're interested in checking this out, but it does get really dark and twisty, just heads up there. But it's also very passionate, very romantic, and I love James Hook. The ending was really cool, and there's like a mystery element to it as well, so it's not just like a romance. There's a subplot going on, and it just makes for a really fun, fast read. And then the last book I wanted to mention is the Cruel Prince series, and mainly Prince Cardan. So this book series actually was not my favorite, but I did want to mention it in this video because Prince Cardan is definitely the type of character who would fit this category. This is a bully romance, so you're gonna see a lot in this book series of him being particularly rude and mean and a bully to Jude, who is our main character. She is a human living in a fae world, and he is the prince of this kingdom. He has a lot of power over everybody, including her, and humans are kind of looked down upon in this world as well. So she really feels like she doesn't fit in, doesn't belong here, and their romance is something special, that's for sure. But his character in particular is definitely more villainesque. Even though he's a prince and a good guy, he really just does not care about people, and he didn't want to be prince anyway, or the king, ruler of this place. There is a lot more to the story than just that, but as far as his character goes and his like personality, he really is just like, I couldn't care less about any of you, and I hate everybody, but if you touch Jude, like, I can mess with her, but no one else can mess with her. You know what I mean? It's one of those situations. So it's fun. It's a bully romance. Check trigger warnings for that as well, but it's still kind of a fun banter, angsty book as well. And because it's YA, again, there's not gonna be spice really, except maybe in the last book, but yeah. Recommend if you're into this book trope. But that's it, guys. That's gonna be it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed these recommendations. If you have any more to add, please leave them in the comments down below. That's gonna be it. Thank you guys again so much for watching. If you haven't already, please give this video a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe. And until next time, I'll catch you in my next video.